Welcome to Fintech Chatter, presented by Tier 1 People, leaders in fintech executive search. Follow us on your favorite podcast player or Fintech Chatter TV on YouTube.
Welcome to part 2 of the 3-part special of Fintech Chatter, recorded live from the British Consulate in Sydney. I'm your host, Dexter Cousins. Back in 2018, I began supporting the work of the UK Department of Business and Trade in their efforts to establish a UK-Oz fintech bridge. Each year, a UK Fintech Mission heads down under as part of Intersekt Week. It's a fantastic opportunity not only to showcase what Australia has to offer, but to learn from our UK cousins. So over this 3-part series, I'm bringing interviews with the delegates, sharing their insights, experiences, and thoughts to the Australian fintech community. In this episode, I chat to 3 fintechs who are about to launch in Australia. NCC Group is already established here in Oz as a cyber solution, and they're about to launch a new business which could help fintechs and banks enter into commercial agreements much faster and at a much lower cost and risk. Knowit is the first Scottish fintech we've featured on Fintech Chatter. Founder Lynn Darcy-Quigley shares her journey as a business owner to fintech founder undergoing global expansion. And Nigel Bridges is the CEO of Veracity Trust Network, an AI and machine learning fintech helping banks beat fraud and scams. If you've just discovered the show, please consider following us on your podcast player and leaving a review. It really helps others like you discover the show. And if you're coming back, thanks for your support. Abby from NCC Group is joining me now. Abby, welcome first of all to Australia and second of all to Fintech Chatter.
Thank you. Thrilled to be here.
Now, where's that accent from?
Bolton, Manchester.
Yeah. I have a friend who's from Bolton.
Right.
Lives in Bondi, but hates the sand.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, Abby. Tell us a little bit about who you are and then NCC.
My name's Abby Thornley. I work for a company called NCC Group. I've worked there for around 8 years now, in various different sales positions, selling to different sectors of our customer base, and I'm the newly appointed sales manager of our Australian branch.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
You must be the envy of your company to be the one who's got this gig.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, we're going to chat a little bit more about Australia, but first of all, tell me about NCC and what you do.
So there are 2 divisions of NCC Group. So most people know us as a cybersecurity business, which is absolutely relevant. But I work for the other side of NCC, which is our software resilience business, which is fundamentally software escrow. So if anybody's familiar with the term of escrow, it's about there being a third party that will hold on to an asset, keep that safe and release that asset under predetermined legal conditions if it is needed. So software escrow being very similar to that, but we're talking about technology being the asset that's held and protected. So we kind of bridge the gap between a software provider and a software customer. And from the software customer's perspective, hold on to the technology that they would need if a disaster scenario were to take place. So our solution is a business continuity service, and we make sure that they would have access to exactly what they would need if they were in a situation where they found themselves needing it because of supplier failure. So from the other perspective, that of the software provider, and this is particularly relevant in the fintech world, we allow them to get access to bigger customers. We allow fintechs to be really innovative and take their proposition to a bank and say, hey, we've created this incredible bit of tech and you want to work with us without any concerns around the fact that we're perhaps only 3 years old as a business, or we're a team of 1 or just a couple of people, because we have an escrow service in place and we can make sure that you would actually have access to everything that you would need in the unimaginable event that something were to go wrong.
So one of the biggest challenges that we've kind of seen here in the Australian ecosystem has been collaboration between incumbents, and large corporates and startups. What kind of effect or kind of impact have you seen this type of service have on the UK ecosystem?
It's huge. I mean, what we do has been around, well, we've been providing these services for 33, I think, years now. The impact, it really does facilitate that innovation. It allows banks to work with the companies that they want to work with without that fear of the worst happening. So it breeds innovation. It helps support the fintech ecosystem in building out, and it helps new startups actually get access to those bigger customers.
Yeah. Australia is, a other side of the world is, obviously not as big a market as Europe, nowhere near as big a market as the US. What was the thinking behind coming out to Australia? So
we've assessed the market base. We've assessed our current customer base as well. So we do already have relationships here. I can't name names, of course, but we protect the software of the banks that you'll be thinking of when you look at the market here. We don't protect all the software. So there are definitely existing relationships that we can leverage. That's going to be the starting point, is looking to build out on what we already have, but then to start to work more proactively with the tier twos and the challenger banks, and actually the fintechs themselves as well. So we look to not only mitigate risk for the banks or the software customers in general, but actually partner with the fintechs and help them use our services to differentiate themselves from competitors and use it as that USP, basically.
So how have you found Australia so far? Have you been here long?
I've been here since Thursday, so 3 or 4 days now. This is my first time in Australia, so it was a big decision to sort of make the leap and come here and decide to emigrate.
Well, you're looking at somebody who did it 20 years ago, right? Yeah.
Any regrets?
None at all. Great. Yeah. Landed with a suitcase and a laptop.
Yeah.
And that was it. No friends, had a job. Well, hadn't been here before.
Yeah, that's my situation. So this event and the opportunity to be here has been really fortuitous, actually, because it wasn't part of the initial plan, but the timing is incredible because now I've been in Sydney for a few days and I love it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm from Manchester, so that's where I live currently, and it's a great city.
Rainiest city in the world, Manchester, isn't it?
We haven't seen the sun since June this year. It's unbelievable. So, I think I've fallen in love with it here. Yeah. And I'm really excited now.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And look, it's an incredible place to live. Now, I'm going to test your knowledge of Australia.
Okay.
I got a question here from the official citizenship test, which I got to sit 12 years ago, and I got 19 out of 20 on.
Congratulations.
My wife got 20 out of 20, so she holds the she holds the upper hand in the Cousins household.
Quite right.
Yeah. Which is the largest state in Australia? A, South Australia, B, Western Australia, C, New South Wales, or D, Queensland?
Western Australia.
And that is correct.
Yes.
There you go. You're one step closer to passing your citizenship test.
Just tried to picture the map in my mind.
Abby, it's been fantastic to chat with you. Where can people find out more about NCC, and what's the best way for them to connect with you?
On LinkedIn, Abigail Thornley, on our website as well, NCC Group Software Resilience.
I'm joined by Lynn from Know It. Lynn, welcome to Australia.
Thanks very much for having me.
Great to have you with us. So that's a beautiful accent you've got there. Where's that from?
Scotland.
Yeah.
Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic to have you here in Oz. You've been here for about a week, Lynn. What's your kind of take on it so far?
It's been really good for us. Yeah. People have been great. The contacts have been great. Partners we've met have been really encouraging.
Now, tell us a little bit about Know It.
Okay, so we're Scottish based. We probably class ourselves as a bit of a scale up in Scotland at the moment. We serve the UK SME with credit control process in the cloud. So we do everything from checking their credit rating, offering them, credit advice, going into the chase piece where we chase all their creditors. And then if they need commercial litigation and debt recovery, we do it all in platform. We're quite unique in terms of, our offering. And we decided that we would look at the Australian market. Even although we are at scale up stage, we find that, why not? Our technology is every day it's getting old. So, why not come out to Australia and look at the market? And, that's why we're here.
So Xerocon last week, you gone to Intersekt this week.
Yeah.
What was your kind of sense as to what the market is like here in Australia?
Yeah, I think Xerocon, we do London. We have done London. We'll do London next year. So coming to Xerocon Australia, Sydney was really important for us as part of the journey. To see what the chat is. Do they behave the same way as us? Is the accountants and the bookkeepers have the same appetite? Do they want to digitize their business? Things like that. So, and we found that to be really encouraging. It was super vibrant, the same as it is in London. The app partners were fantastic, and everybody was really interested in what we had to offer.
Cool. Now I want to talk a little bit about the kind of history of Noah. When did you found?
So we founded in 2019.
Wow. So it's a pretty young company then.
Yeah, we launched in 2022.
Right.
So we're super new. But my background is I've been in commercial debt recovery and litigation for 30 years in the UK. And I have a debt recovery and commercial agency that's about 17 years old back home. So this was a kind of spin out for us to see if we could help the SME from a digital perspective, especially when COVID came in.
Yeah.
It was just supporting that SME on tax making digital in the UK has kind of forced all of the SMEs to use, a Xero, a Sage, a QuickBooks, they have to use an app. And we just found that, this was a really, really good opportunity to go from an original business model, which we still hold, to go into the SaaS products where we could plug in our platform.
From your personal perspective then, Lynn, what did you find were the challenges of you making that transition to a traditional business founder and then a tech founder?
Yeah. I mean, it's like miles apart, so different. And I'm not a tech person. So it was really important for me to hire a really fantastic tech team round about me. So I suppose I'm the CEO and the founder, but I'm the kind of person that goes, I have all the experience, but I can't build it. So that was, so that transition was hard.
Yeah.
And I was an outsider, complete outsider, because we are commercial debt recovery and litigation. And I was now going into tech. But I have to say, we worked with the SDI, TDI, Fintech Scotland, stuff like that. And they really embraced us, into their ecosystem. And the fact that we do all the, Xerocons and Accountex and stuff like that, it's really helped us, embed ourselves. Yeah. And also when we've employed staff who are already in that ecosystem. Yeah. So it kind of takes away the fact that I'm not in it, but I don't feel like that now. I feel as if I'm embedded now, and I'm part of them, and I can give a solution, and I come with a different skill set.
Wanted to ask you as well about the kind of talent side, because Glasgow, isn't renowned for being a fintech centre. But that's probably ignorance on behalf of, London gets all the credit. Yeah. I'm obviously a native Geordie where we're kind of pretty, we're still proud of the region, and I've watched and always have appreciated the level of talent that we have in the north of London, and kind of in Scotland and in north of England. How have you found the access to talent, and how have you found being able to scale the business when you're not in that kind of ecosystem of London?
Yeah.
So it's like a completely different country, right?
It so is. And I know you're absolutely right. But, thankfully, Scotland's tech ecosystem is just outstanding. We have fantastic universities that are incubating talent, like there is no tomorrow. The fintech, medtech, I mean, the stuff coming out of Glasgow and Edinburgh is just phenomenal right now, which is great. And we have, big spin outs like Barclays Eagle Lab who are nurturing and, giving real good talent out to the, businesses like mine. Yeah. So I've not struggled at all. Yeah. It's been really great. We've got great talent in the business. But I think there's a certain level of talent for me. It's always entering when they're young and, you know, they're entrepreneurial and, you know, it's you're getting them at a nice sweet spot. They're just out of universities or, you know, they're incubating, they're full of ideas, they're quite entrepreneurial. You know, whether they hang about or they stay about in your business almost doesn't matter. The fact you've got them for that moment and you can teach them and mould them. And, you know, so I'm having fun. It's, you know, the whole London thing doesn't really affect us in Glasgow. You know, we're getting good talent, good people, and they love the startup journey. They're, you know, because you need to love a startup journey. It's hard. You know.
No, I'm going to test your knowledge of Aussiness.
Oh my God. I'm going to feel an Aussiness.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here we go, right? This is one that's it's going to see whether you've done some of your research.
Oh my God. Okay.
What percentage of Australians live on the coast? A, 70%, B, 80%, C, 100%, or D, 90%?
70? Maybe. I have no idea.
If you're gonna travel all this way to start another life, you're gonna take advantage of the beautiful beaches that we've 90. Got here. It's 90%.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So if you're setting up right, and it has to be near the beach.
It's got to be right. Okay.
Well, Lynn, it's been fantastic to catch up with you. Good luck with the rest of the trip.
Thank you.
Keep in touch with us.
I will do.
If you do come out to Oz, we'll keep an eye out on Know It as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Nigel Bridges from Veracity Trust Network is here to tell me about bots and cybersecurity. Nigel, welcome to Australia and welcome to Fintech Chatter.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. I mean, just to give you a very quick brief for what we do, the world of cyber is just really complex, and you're getting a lot of bots out there on the internet pretending to be humans, getting into ecosystems, doing horrible, nasty stuff. And we're in the business of stopping bots before they get into, your back end systems and stealing your data and putting ransomware on and that kind of stuff. So that's what we do. It's all very important stuff. If you go onto a website, that's great. We'll let you through because you're a human. If a clever bot goes onto a website pretending to be a human, we will work out whether it's human or not. And if it's not, we'll chuck you out before you do any damage.
I was going to ask you why you've decided to look at Australia, but given the data breaches, there's a really stupid question.
There's a clue there. But that's absolutely right, because if you're in a regulated sector, as indeed so many of us are, then a data breach can take you down. Even if you're an SME, a data breach, you might survive it, but your customers are not gonna like it. So confidence drops, everything drops. And so we're simply in that business of stopping that sort of nasty stuff happening. And unfortunately, in these days of AI and sophistication, these bots are getting more and more sophisticated. So we need to be far more sophisticated in detecting them.
Yeah. I think it's one of the challenges that we have in society with technology is that, whilst it's incredible power to have and it can do a lot of good, it usually tends to go into the wrong hands, first of all, and people find out the bad things you can do with it before we get mainstream adoption of the good things.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, it's an arms race in the end of the day. So we're not in the business of stopping a human being going into websites, whatever. You got other really good technology that can do that. Identity checking tech is really strong these days. Are you that Fred Smith rather than the other Fred Smith? But there's a weak spot in going, are you Fred Smith or are you a very clever bot who's stolen all of Fred Smith's details and is now trying to get in pretending to be Fred Smith? So there's a real vulnerability there. That's what we're trying to stop. And these things are getting more sophisticated all the time. So we have to get more sophisticated in trying to stop them.
So can you give me some ideas to the size of this problem that you're solving?
Massive is the obvious answer. But so if we look across our client base, let me just pull some statistics out. Somewhere between about 30 to 50% of visitors going to a website who have got through all of the current defenses. So people will have all their defenses in place. Somewhere between 30 and 50% of the visitors that get through are bots.
Wow.
So it is still a very large number. So I'll give you a case in point. So we've got a client in the UK, an insurance company. They've got the software in place that everyone knows and loves to try and stop all these nasty things happening. We deployed our software, and they're currently running between 30-35% bots getting through that existing software that we then stop. So we're the last bouncer on the door to stop those really nasty ones, those clever ones getting through.
Nigel, on this trip, what kinds of businesses and people are you keen to connect with?
That's a great question. Let's split the world into two, regulated and unregulated. On the regulated side, so B2B organizations, SMEs and corporates, in terms of regulated industries, if they have data breaches, for example, then regulators jump up and down their heads very, very heavily. And so we will be another layer of defense to stop those kind of breaches. So it's on the regulated side. So that's, financial services companies, insurance, legal, for example, is a good area that we can help with. On the unregulated side, that's also an area of interest to us. So, for example, e-commerce and online shopping. The last thing you want is bots getting into your inventory, tying your inventory up, all of that kind of stuff. So again, it's applicable across both regulated and non-regulated. But the real key is, if you've got a website presence and you are attracting people into your organization through your website, then you are also attracting the bad players and bots. Yeah. And that's what we're looking to stop.
Yeah. Now, this is a solution that typically gets kind of positioned towards enterprise and is extremely expensive to implement and then continue to support. You mentioned SME quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is this priced towards that market as well, or is it an enterprise solution?
No, this fits all levels of market. So it's definitely B2B, so it will not fit the consumer market at all. But in terms of B2B, SMEs upwards, it fits all of those. You talk about implementation. Contrary to most solutions in this sector, we're actually very straightforward to implement. And we will work with the existing cyber ecosystem. That's the key. So a lot of organizations will have their own cyber in place. We will just segue straight into that ecosystem just to add that extra layer of defense. So small companies going right the way up to enterprise, doesn't matter. It works for them. Works them in terms of budget, works them in terms of operational support and overhead as well.
Now, I'm going to test your knowledge of Australia on this trip with a little quiz question.
Oh, no, go on.
Yeah. It's multiple choice. When did Australia gain independence from Britain? And, look at this. It's only centuries. So we've got A, the 1700s, B, the 1600s, C, the 1900s, or D, the 1800s?
Gosh, I think it was very, very early 1900s.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Nigel, it's been fantastic to have you on. Enjoy your trip here. Hope you find,
Wonderful.
I'm sure you're going to be a very popular man, given that Australia's mantle is, I think, the most breached country. I think every single one of our citizens has their data on the dark web. So.
It's driven. I'm very happy to talk to anyone. So, brilliant. Lovely to be here. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for tuning in, folks. As always, you can follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter. If you're coming back, thanks for supporting the show. And if you're new, hit the follow button in your podcast player. We release new episodes every week. Until the next time, keep well. Fintech Chatter is produced by Tier 1 people, leaders in fintech executive search. We'll find world-class leadership talent to build world-class fintech ventures. And you can find us at tier1people.com.